Welcome to Snark Club. I'm James Bond.
And I'm Zero.
Zero only obeys the laws of physics when they feel like it.
Exactly.
They can transcend gravity and time and everything.
Laws schmores, you know?
I love s'mores.
You love schmores?
Delicious.
Well, we are changing the laws of physics all the time. I'm not gonna obey that made up shit.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because I don't get it. Like, I keep seeing this magical diagram where there's like 4 quadrants and they're like, yeah, there's got to be 4 forces. Like, we just have this strong, like, vibe that there's definitely 4 forces. We just don't know what all of them are, or if they're like really separate from each other, or if they're gonna like line up in the way that we think. There's like 3 forces and a wild card. That's the impression that I get.
Okay, the 4 forces diagram is actually like a sensible option if you really want to make up your own whack shit.
I would love to do that.
What you say is, well guys, 4 seems like a bit many, there should just be 1.
I was actually contemplating the idea of a unified theory the other day, and I was like, no. I actually think that this is reductionist and silly.
Why are we coming back to the individual?
Exactly! Like, why does there have to be 1? Especially when, like, you're looking at, when we look at subatomic particles, you know, back in the day they were like, oh great, there's one thing that makes up everything, and it's the atom. And then we were like, oh actually the atom is made up of smaller things that are all slightly different from each other.
Yeah.
But what are they made up of? Quarks. And they come in different flavors. Like, the universe is made of different things that behave differently, and we're going to have to be okay with that
But according to current science, quarks are the smallest it can get. How do you feel about that?
I feel okay about that.
Do you feel okay about that?
I feel okay about things not being smaller than quarks, because I just, like, my fear is that people doing research were going to try and find something equivalent to binary code where it can, like, you know, like, let's say, for example, there's one particle that makes up everything in the universe, including, like, antimatter and, like, radiation. Like, there's one thing that everything is made of, and the only reason we experience different things is because that thing is, like, spinning in a different direction. Yeah. That would piss me off.
Yeah, it's okay to be more complicated than that.
Exactly. I think we should have more variety and nuance in the fabric of the universe. And I'm pretty sure we do.
We do.
Great.
And so
we can paint with so many different colours now that we have different flavours of quarks.
Until we can combine everything into one solid ball of math, we have the standard model, which, as you say, is like normally described as 4 different forces.
Gravity. Electromagnetic force.
Yep.
Strong nuclear force and weak nuclear force.
Hey!
Okay, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of unfair that nuclear force gets to be in there twice. Like, is it really so different that we couldn't just call the whole thing nuclear force?
I mean, the strong nuclear force is really easy to explain because it's just what is holding the atom together.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you think about protons, they're all positive charges, right?
It's the force that is forcing nucleuses to exist.
Yeah, like if you hold 2 positively charged magnets up to each other, you probably felt the, like...
Oh, right, like that shouldn't be...
Yeah, it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
So how are we clumping all these protons together?
Right.
The answer is the strong nuclear force.
It's just forcing them in there.
It's cramming them in.
Is strong.
And then when you break that seal, you get a lot of energy.
What's the weak nuclear force?
Oh, the weak nuclear force, we use the word force, but it's more often called the weak nuclear interaction. Because it neither holds things together, nor does it push things apart.
What does it do?
It changes things into other things.
What? Science is trans! Again! I love that.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about electromagnetism came to me in this music video we watched in year 10 that said, ooh, ooh, yeah, yeah, electromagnetic spectrum, ooh, ooh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
gonna be my next
electromagnetic
track.
spectrum. Yeah!
You wouldn't really think that light, like from your torch or whatever, is the same as the force that's controlling magnets.
Isn't that, like, that is really wild to me. Like, if I, what happens if I shine a torch on some magnets? Like, are the photons from the visible light still, like, interacting at all with the, like, the magnets?
No, they're on, like, different... So, like, this would be an electric wave.
And then that's the magnetic wave.
And then this would be the magnetic wave.
And
then this would be the electromagnetic wave. And this is the dance I'm going to do in my lip sync.
And some people will think that you're like trying to do like one of these numbers, but
I'm actually
demonstrating physics.
Yeah. That's the one that we know the most about. We know about the particle, we know about the force. One of the ones that we know the least about is gravity.
Oh, what? How do we not know about gravity? Do we just not know anything about gravity?
We know a lot about gravity, but we don't know what it's mediated by. Like, basically, all we know is that gravity acts on things from a distance. And how does it do that?
Are we sort of hoping that there's a particle because there's a particle for everything else?
Yes, because, like...
We just want everything to have a particle.
We don't want things to be able to do things that we don't understand.
Yeah, that's why I don't like pests coming into my house.
People don't like us sometimes.
That is true!
James Bonk, for the viewers at home, what are your pronouns?
Well, I tend to use he, him as James Bonk, but what you'll notice is that as the years go on, I will look less and less like a he, him, but I'm still going to make everyone call me he, him. Like, first I'm grabbing onto the he, him, and then I'm running over there, and I'm stretching the fabric of masculinity. I'm doing that work for you all. I'm just making it nice and big so that more people can fit in it. You
are the particle that is mediating gender.
Yes! What are your pronouns?
I like any pronouns.
Great.
I like them. Welcome back to your number one most reliable news source here
God.
on Facebook.org. Facebook.gov.
Welcome to the metaverse. I would love to be the face of your new propaganda machine.
Take a propaganda of this, shall we?
Take a propaganda of this. I gotta tell you about some science.
Propaganda.
The thing about science is...
I'm really gonna take a propaganda at this one.
Woo!
That was an impropaganda.
So...
In real news.
In real news that's true, there are more tiny creatures living on you than there are human cells in you.
That, you know what? How can we say we even have gender if most of me is just like other guys?
Yes! You are sort of an ecosystem. Well, you might have heard of the term microbiome, which is sort of like your personal palette of bacteria. And a lot of it you actually inherit from the birth canal. If you're born through the vagina, you get something called bacterial baptism, which means that as you go through the vaginal canal, you pick up a whole bunch of bacteria from your parents' microbiome, and it stays with you. Like, those strains of bacteria, obviously the exact bacteria will die, but like they're breeding, they're being born, they're dying, they're living on you, and they're like the same strains that you got from your parents.
And what about C-section babies and those that were found on the side of the road?
Well, if you were found on the side of the road, you probably have a really diverse microbiome.
That's so true.
Yeah. If you were born through C-section, you won't have the bacterial baptism, but if you're breastfed, you'll get some of your parents' biome that way. You'll also get some of your parents' biome from like living with them and being near them. So I probably have some of my housemates' biome as well. Like, a little bit of it will transfer, but you'll pick it up throughout your life as well, just from like coming into contact with the world. Even from breathing, every time you breathe, there's new guys going in you. Not all of them will live there forever, unless it's tuberculosis.
Now I have to breathe on camera.
Okay.
I'm inhaling new guys. Nobody's.
I'm diversifying my microbiome.
Whew. Yeah.
Something happened in New York City.
I don't believe it. Someone was walking here.
I'm walking here, and I'm leaving a traceable biological footprint here. In New York, someone went around and took swabs of all of these like railway stations, then took swabs of public places, and they were looking at the microbiome in those places.
Just like a random person?
No. I wish I knew more about the exact study.
Yeah.
But like 10 to 15 years ago, you could track the people who were eating kimchi. Well, you could still track the people who were eating kimchi, really. Yeah. You leave traces of your microbiome wherever you go. Which is why you are not as much of an individual organism as you think you are. First of all, you're a community of, because you wouldn't be able to eat if you didn't have these other guys living on you and in you.
Uh-huh.
And second of all, it's to do with like your immune system and stuff. Like you need them to help combat other malicious microbes that are like constantly trying to get in you and take over your body, like COVID.
So it's not like my personal problems. It's like all of our...
You're all working together to keep this going. And when you think about it, like the way that you leave parts of your microbiome in places and the way you pick them up from places, you're sort of living with the whole earth, you know?
Yeah.
And that's where the concept of a holobiont comes from. A holobiont is when you, instead of looking at an organism, you look at an organism and all of the things that live on it and in it. So the individual in the ecosystem is not one organism, it's sort of a group of organisms.
This is beautiful because I'm probably like exchanging organisms with like the people that I'm in community with.
We're exchanging organisms right now.
Yeah.
We're breathing in the same room.
Snark Club as one unit.
Yeah. Well.
All of us. This episode brought to you by the millions of us that are on camera right now.
Yes! The Snark Club team.
Now I know that I was like millions of us were contributing. I think my pay slips should reflect that, you know.
So true. Like there are little guys in your eyebrows, in your hair, on your skin, in your nose, in your gut, in your lungs.
So what would happen if I had 0 bacteria?
Well, there's a real thing called germless mice that you can buy. This is a lab thing and an ethically questionable thing, but they make mice that do not have...
Even in them?
Allegedly. Like, they're branded as zero germ mice, but I personally...
Putting my name out there?
See them
Not the 0 germ mice.
The zero germ is covered with tiny, tiny zeros.
Yeah. I was on the mice.
You're contributing to the mice.
I'm in the mice.
You're in the mice.
I'm in the mice.
Into the mice verse. So,
But they're alive?
They're alive! And look, personally, I think that the 0 is meant to be taken with a grain of salt. I don't think anything is actually completely free from microbes. But these mice are as close to that as possible. And they use them for experiments to be like, oh, if we gave them like some of a human gut biome, like how would they feel about that? And like which parts of the human gut biome are like doing what?
Give
you know,
some
because
of
you
mine.
can isolate
It's still
strains.
a 0 germ mouth. Nothing changed.
So true,
Yeah.
but it would have a more comfortable life because it would have a biome.
That's what I'm saying. I will donate.
You can donate. There's this thing going on right now. You can donate your poo, and then they can get some of your microbiome and like cultivate it and use it to help people who have stuff like IBS and Crohn's disease where they need more gut flora.
So if I just bag it up, where am I taking it?
The lab rat's going to tell us because I've forgotten.
Okay.
So, welcome to Snark Club where we talk shit. There are so many things you can donate. Like, you can donate your hair, you can donate your poo, you can donate your voice.
This
Your blood, your plasma.
You think I could donate this plastic hard front?
That's mostly what I wanted to tell you about holobionts, but the one thing I want to close on is that not everybody likes them. I like them because I'm secretly a communist.
Who doesn't like them?
People who have spent a long time drawing graphs of linear evolution are like, now you want to tell me there's not individuals in the ecosystem? Now you want to tell me I have to track a very ambiguous, nebulous group of bacteria through generations?
Maybe the individuals were never real.
No, they were never. And I think this is like a problem with the way we think about science, is that we think we can isolate one thing and find the truth in it. But actually a lot of things are happening all the time.
This is actually a helpful way to get people to understand they, them pronouns.
It's me and my lactobacilli and my funny little yeasts and fungi and all of me, and I need all of me.
We love them, they are going to be here, and they're so helpful.
Yeah!
So, if anyone's struggling with your pronouns, just tell them you're actually millions of guys in a trench coat.
Yes! Remind them that there are more others than there are human cells in you.
Yeah.
And once again, Science is trans.